You ever notice how much power you give away without even realizing it? How much of yourself you lose chasing someone who doesn't chase back? Today, we're talking about what happens when you stop, when you finally walk away, when you disappear, and what that does to her mind. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button. This channel is built for men who think deeper, who want truth, not fantasy. You being here says something about you. So subscribe and let's keep building. Now let's get into it. When you disappear from her life, something shifts, something she didn't expect. And it's not what you think. It's not about games. It's not about manipulation. It's about presence and absence. It's about value and scarcity. It's about what happens when a man finally chooses himself. Most men don't disappear. They linger, they orbit, they stay available just in case. They keep texting, keep liking her posts, keep hoping she'll notice. But that's not disappearing. That's waiting in the shadows, and she knows it. Real disappearance is total. It's complete. It's when you're not angry, not bitter, not trying to prove anything. You're just gone. And that absence creates something powerful. The first thing she feels is confusion. Not sadness yet, not regret, just confusion. Because you were always there. You were predictable. You were safe, and now you're not. She checks her phone. No text from you. She scrolls through her messages. Nothing. She looks at your social media. You haven't watched her story. You haven't liked anything. You're not reacting. And that confuses her because in her mind, you were the one who cared more. You were the one who reached out. You were the one who made effort. And now that effort is gone. She starts to wonder why. Did something happen? Did she do something? Is he okay? Is he with someone else? These questions start small, but they grow. Because the human mind hates unanswered questions. It hates gaps. It hates not knowing. And your absence is a gap she can't fill. Now, here's what most men get wrong. They think disappearing is about making her miss you. It's not. Not at first. It's about breaking a pattern. It's about disrupting her expectations. She expected you to always be there, to always respond, to always care. And when you're not, her brain has to recalibrate. It has to adjust. And that adjustment is uncomfortable. The second thing she feels is curiosity. This comes after the confusion settles. She starts wanting to know more. What changed? Where did you go? Why aren't you responding? She might reach out, a casual text, a random question, an excuse to check in, and this is where most men fail. They respond immediately. They think, finally, she's reaching out. And they give her everything, all the attention, all the emotion, all the availability. And just like that, the power shifts back. She got her answer. You're still there, still available, still waiting, and the curiosity dies. But if you stay gone, if you don't respond or you respond with distance, that curiosity turns into something deeper. She starts to wonder about your life, what you're doing, who you're with, what you're focused on. She starts to imagine you moving forward, and that image bothers her because she assumed you'd stay stuck. She assumed you'd stay in place, but you didn't. And now she's the one wondering. The third thing she feels is a loss of control. This one cuts deep because most women, whether they admit it or not, like knowing they have options. They like knowing that certain men are available, not because they want those men, but because it feels safe. It feels secure. It's comforting to know someone cares, even if they don't care back the same way. But when you disappear, that comfort is gone. She can't reach you emotionally anymore. She can't pull you back in with a text. She can't test your interest. She can't keep you on standby. And that loss of control creates anxiety. She starts to feel like she lost something, even if she didn't want it, even if she never valued it. The moment it's gone, it becomes valuable. This is human nature. We don't value what's always available. We value what's scarce, what's rare, what's no longer ours. And your absence makes you scarce. It makes you rare. It makes you valuable in her eyes again. Not because you changed, but because you're no longer accessible. The fourth thing she feels is regret, but not right away. Regret comes slowly. It builds over time. At first, she tells herself she doesn't care. She tells herself you were too available anyway, too needy, too invested. But as days pass, that narrative cracks. She starts remembering the good moments, the times you made her laugh, the times you were there, the times you actually cared. And she starts to wonder if she took that for granted. She starts to question her own choices. Maybe she didn't appreciate you. Maybe she was too focused on other things. Maybe she assumed you'd always be around. And now that you're not, she feels the weight of that assumption. She realizes she might have lost something real, something solid, something most men don't offer anymore. Genuine care, genuine effort, genuine presence. And that realization stings because regret isn't just about missing someone. It's about realizing you had something and didn't see its value until it was gone. Now, let's be clear about something. This isn't about revenge. It's not about hurting her. It's not about making her feel bad so you feel better. That's weak. That's ego. That's you still being controlled by her opinion of you. Real disappearance is about self-respect. It's about refusing to stay where you're not valued. It's about choosing yourself. It's about walking away not to punish her, but to protect you. Because staying in a place where you're an option, not a priority, kills you slowly. It chips away at your confidence. It makes you question your worth. It turns you into someone you don't recognize, someone who begs for attention, someone who waits by the phone, someone who sacrifices his peace for breadcrumbs. And no woman respects that man. Not deeply, not truly. She might keep him around. She might use him for comfort, but she doesn't respect him. And you can't build anything real without respect. So when you disappear, you're not playing a game. You're setting a standard. You're saying, I'm worth more than this. You're saying, I don't need to convince anyone of my value. You're saying, I'd rather be alone than be disrespected. And that energy is magnetic. Not because it's manipulative, but because it's authentic. It's rare. Most men don't have it. Most men fold. Most men chase. Most men stay even when they should leave. But you didn't, and that makes you different. The fifth thing she feels is respect. And this one is the most important because respect is the foundation of real attraction. She might have liked you before, she might have enjoyed your company, but if she didn't respect you, it was shallow. It was temporary. It was conditional. But when you disappear, when you choose yourself, something shifts. She sees you differently. She sees a man who has boundaries, a man who won't tolerate being treated as less than, a man who values himself enough to walk away. And that's attractive, not in a shallow way, in a deep, primal way, because women are drawn to men who are grounded, men who know their worth, men who don't need validation, men who can stand alone. Your disappearance proves that. It proves you're not desperate. It proves you're not needy. It proves you're not waiting for her to decide your value. You already decided it, and you decided you're worth more. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes she won't feel any of this. Sometimes she won't care. Sometimes she'll move on and never look back. And that's okay because your disappearance wasn't about her reaction. It was about your action. It was about you choosing self-respect over hope. It was about you refusing to beg. It was about you walking away with dignity. And that's a win. Even if she never reaches out, even if she never regrets it, even if she never realizes what she lost, you still won because you kept your self-respect, you kept your peace, you kept your power, and that's worth more than any relationship built on you being less than you are. Let's talk about what happens after you disappear, Because this is where most men mess up. She reaches out. She says she misses you. She says she made a mistake. She says she wants to talk, and finally, you think it worked. You think she sees your value now. And maybe she does. But here's the test. Do you go back to being the same man? The man who was always available, the man who dropped everything, the man who put her first always? Or do you stay the man who disappeared, the man who has boundaries, the man who values himself? Because if you go back to the old version, nothing changes. She'll lose respect again. She'll take you for granted again. She'll pull away again, not because she's a bad person, but because you taught her she can. You showed her that your boundaries were temporary, that your self-respect was conditional, that you'd always come back. And once she knows that, the dynamic returns to what it was. So if she reaches out, you don't ignore her, but you don't rush back either. You stay grounded. You stay centered. You engage, but with boundaries. You're open, but not desperate. You're interested, but not available at all costs. You show her that the man who disappeared is the real you now. Not a tactic, not a phase, the real you. And if she can't respect that, she's not for you. Let's go deeper. Why does disappearing work? Not as a manipulation, but as a reflection of truth. Because when you disappear, you're removing fake connection. You're removing one-sided effort. You're removing the illusion that things were working. Most relationships don't end because of big fights. They end because one person was doing all the work. One person was carrying the weight. One person was investing while the other coasted. And that imbalance kills attraction. It kills respect. It kills desire. So when you disappear, you're not ending something real. You're ending something that was already broken. You're just the only one honest enough to admit it. And that honesty, that clarity, that self-awareness is powerful. It forces her to confront reality. It forces her to see what was actually happening. It forces her to feel the absence of your effort. And sometimes that absence is the only thing that wakes people up. Here's another truth. Disappearing isn't about her. It's about you. It's about refusing to lose yourself. It's about protecting your energy. It's about investing in your own life. Because every minute you spend chasing someone who doesn't choose you is a minute stolen from yourself, from your goals, from your growth, from your peace, and you can't get that time back. So disappearing is an act of self-preservation. It's you saying, I matter. It's you saying, my time matters. It's you saying, I won't beg for a place in someone's life. And when you live that way, everything changes, not just with her, with everyone. You start attracting different energy, different people, different opportunities, because you're no longer operating from lack. You're operating from abundance, not financial abundance, emotional abundance, the abundance that comes from knowing you're enough, from knowing you don't need anyone to complete you, from knowing you can walk away and be okay. That energy is rare and it's magnetic. So when you disappear, you're not losing. You're leveling up. You're becoming the man you were meant to be. The man who doesn't settle, the man who doesn't beg, the man who respects himself too much to stay where he's not valued. And that man, he doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to convince. He doesn't need to disappear to get attention. He disappears because it's the right move for him. And everything else is just a byproduct. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about someone, here's my advice. Don't disappear to hurt her. Don't disappear to make her jealous. Don't disappear as a strategy. Disappear because you respect yourself. Disappear because you deserve better. Disappear because staying is killing you. And then stay disappeared. Not forever necessarily, but long enough to rebuild yourself. Long enough to remember who you are. Long enough to stop measuring your worth by her attention. And if she comes back, great. But only if she's coming back to a man who's whole, a man who's grounded, a man who won't tolerate being second place. And if she doesn't come back, even better, because now you're free. Free to find someone who sees your value from the start. Someone who doesn't need you to disappear to appreciate you. Someone who matches your effort, your energy, your respect. That's the real win, not her regret, your freedom, your peace, your self-respect. Everything else is just noise. So disappear when you need to, not as a game, as a boundary, as a standard, as a commitment to yourself, and watch how everything shifts, not just with her, with you. If this resonated, hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of men who choose themselves, who think clearly, who move with purpose. You belong here. Subscribe, and let's keep